Yay! It's Thursday. Um, Kind of my favorite day of the week. Welcome if you are new here. My name is Chloe Ballatori. I am a relationship and communication expert. I'm a graduate of Princeton University and Pat Allen's Want Institute. I use the tools that I learned from Dr. Pat of androgynous semantic realignment. I use tools of transactional analysis, which was created by Eric Byrne, and I use tools that I created myself because I've been doing this work for over a decade now. I help women, I help men, I help teenagers, I help couples. I've also written 4 books on this work. And I'll put that into the chat, some of my credentials there. I've written 4 books on this work. They're all available on Amazon. My first book, How to Live, Find Love, and Keep It, is really the basics. So that's kind of the manual. And then the next 3 books, they are each treating a different topic. New Ways of Being, The Pain of Change. That's really about what happens once you start navigating your new life. This work is meant to change you and change your life. Um, so once you start doing it, that you realize that even change for the better is painful. And so part of what I do is I help people understand that and understand the difference between the pain that change needs to take place and the pain that change is already taking place. Because when change is taking place, it can be a painful process. It's um, called Arthur Janov, another psychologist. Actually, he used to work out of Santa Monica. I think he just recently died. He lived to be like 100, but he coined a term called primaling. And so when we're in the process of changing our brain, our patterns, we enter a state of primaling sometimes, and that can manifest in a number of different ways. Crying, sweating, throwing up. And these primaling states often scare people into stopping the change that they've begun. And so it's important to understand what just needs to be gone through or what needs to be readjusted. My third book, Secrets to a Good Marriage. What is Love? I've been married over 20 years. Actually, we just had the 25th anniversary of our first kiss last weekend. So that was really exciting and fun and, kind of a shock to me because I came from um, a very abusive household, which made me think I would never get married, and never have a family because there was just too much pain involved. Thank you, Wendy. Um, and then my fourth book, Daddy Issues, Mommy Issues. This is about basically the legacy that all of us have from childhood. Even if you didn't grow up in an abusive household, maybe you had trauma with a small T, maybe you had trauma with a big T. But all of us in childhood have to adjust our authenticity in order to attach to the people that own the refrigerator, right? And so, because human infants are they're very dependent. They're not very independent. And this process of adjusting and adapting in order to attach to our parents or the grown-ups who are raising us comes at a cost. And we form coping strategies that we think are based on existential truths. But when we bring those strategies into our adult life, and particularly into our intimate relationships, we often find that we sabotage ourselves and we develop patterns that don't serve us. And so, if you've been in a pattern, if you've had relationships that haven't worked out, this is a really good spot for you because that's one of the things that we really work on is identifying those scripts and identifying those patterns so that we can take counter actions and change them. Freud said between the ages of 0 to 12 is really our reality, and then the rest of life is getting over that. He thought, you're basically cooked by 3. And a lot of that is true. But what he didn't realize is that the brain is plastic. We can change. There is hope. It just takes a lot of awareness and courage as well. So I help people with that. Now, these are usually these childhood trauma, these issues are what throw off the balance in our relationships, be they the relationship that we have with self or the relationship that we have with a partner. Uh, The most successful relationships are those that are balanced between masculine and feminine energy. And there's a big misunderstanding about what masculine and feminine energy is. So I'm going to give a brief definition of that. It has been definitively proved not just by philosophers, but also by scientists and psychologists that all of us have a right side, a right hemisphere of the brain that is feelings based, that is nonlinear thinking, the seat of creativity, of sexuality, sensuality, passive, patient, vulnerable, receiving. Okay. Magic, the world of magic is very much in the right brain, in the feminine energy, okay? Yin energy, that's what this is. Yin energy is often represented by flowers or air because it's in the world to make it fun, but it's not of the world. And then all of us have this left brain, the seat of linear thinking, of competitive, conquering, controlling behavior. Most of us are in our left brain when we're at work because we're doing, achieving, taking care of, giving. Um, and it's very single minded. Okay. This is the yang energy. Like I said, all of us are both. If you're an alpha, what's really meant by alpha is not a dominating bully, but an alpha has a strong feminine side and a strong masculine side. Often, when we are children, we have to develop one side over the other in order to survive. And so, a lot of this work is bringing ourselves back into balance. I know when I started this work, the whole world of feelings was pretty foreign to me. I didn't really make any decisions based on my feelings, which means I was very much operating from the yang energy, the left brain. So much so that I was ego dystonic, and the yin side of my life had been completely neglected because of my childhood trauma. Um, So that was part of my journey. And I often help very overachieving, high achieving women understand and bring up their feminine side a little bit more. Like I said, all of us are both, but it's helpful to know which you want to lead with in your intimate relationships. Um, you don't have to use these tools all the time, but they help in awkward situations like first dates, getting to know somebody, as well as when you have conflicts, and conflicts are inevitable in any relationship. If you want peace in your relationship, you got to get good at conflict resolution. A lot of people anticipate, oh, well, when I'm in a great relationship, I won't have to worry about any conflict. That's absolutely not true. Um, Even in the best relationships, there are conflicts. So, that's the underpinning of this work. That's the philosophy and the science behind it. Um, that's not new. That's not my work per se. My work really are the tools to execute on this scholarship because a lot of people understand some of these ideas in theory, but then putting them into practice is another level. Um, and this is why I like this work better than emotional traditional therapy, which where you go, you say your feelings, and that's really nice. It's a pleasant experience, right? And somebody reflects them back to you, but nothing really ever changes from that experience. You might feel better in the moment, and it's nice to know that there's somebody there for you and in your corner, but ultimately, I became frustrated with it because I still had the same problems year after year. So I stopped with that. When I found this, it was really because I had seen an incredible result in my neighbor where she had transformed her life from being like really, really struggling teenage mom, always broke, never really in a good, healthy relationship. She ended up in like the space of 3 years from doing this work, getting married, getting like an amazing job, starting her own business. I mean, it was truly an incredible makeover. And so when I saw that, that convinced me to go to a group like this. We had back then it was a woman's group and it was in person. It wasn't free, but that's where I started. And I didn't, if you're new tonight, I didn't understand this work myself when I first started it. I just had seen that result and something in it resonated, and it took a bunch of times, a bunch of repetition for me to really wrap my head around it and understand the complex not it's simple, but the profundity of it. It's very deep. And when you hear what I'm saying is one thing, but then when you go to put some of these tools into practice, it really sinks in on a deeper level. And it's meant to provoke a catharsis. It's meant to trigger you to some degree so that some of this trauma can come out. Hopefully, all of it, because every tear needs to be shed, every emotion expressed that we've repressed or suppressed in the service of surviving our childhood. Okay. If we don't release these suppressed and repressed emotions, they will end up manifesting in our body as disease. And that's the work of Gabor Mate. If you guys have heard of him, he does a lot of work about the body mind connection and basically the fact that the body and mind are, you know, one. And what he's developed he's written a number of books. I really like When the Body Says No. And in that book, there's a portrait of what he sees often, he's an MD, as a cancer persona, a person who develops cancer, a masculine and a feminine energy person. And it's really interesting. Anyway, that's my spiel. I love to devote the rest of the time to your guys' questions, and you guys can ask me about really anything. Yes, my specialty is dating and relationships, but I also help people with communication problems. I help people with work issues. I help people with family issues and friendships. So if there's something, if you have a burning question, there's something that's on your mind, please don't hesitate to ask. You can raise your hand or you can put something in the chat. I also love to hear your guys' updates, how you're using this work. It's very helpful for you too to come back and share with us. That makes it sink in on a deeper level. Um, so yeah, shoot, Lee.
Hey there,
Hi,
Chloe.
Lee. Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing really good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How can I help you?
Well, I wanted to update you on a couple things. Last week I shared with you there was a lady I had met a few weeks ago at a dinner meetup group, and we went out, and then she texted me she just wanted to be friends.
Right.
Uh, well, she texted me again a week ago to tomorrow, it was on Friday morning, asking me if I wanted to go to an early dinner
Okay.
or and or some kind of karaoke. She wanted to hear me sing karaoke. So I said, sure. And so she said, by the way, she says, we're going Dutch. We're going as friends. I don't want no expectations of date.
Okay.
I said, okay, fine. So we met at a place down in Orange County, and we hung out, had drinks, and the wait was incredibly long to sing,
Yeah.
but I got one song in, and she liked it, and we talked, and I noticed a behavior that's very interesting. I want to share with you, but before I bring that up, there's another person, another woman that I have known for over 2 years. In real life, we met in real life, at an environment where she works and I'm a customer. And
Have
I've
you mentioned her to me before?
no, I don't never have. We've never
Okay.
even gone out.
Because I was
All I,
remembered there was a girl in a coffee shop who worked at a coffee shop you at.
That's not her. This is a different
Okay.
person.
Okay.
But this gal is she's quiet, she's quirky, she's artsy, she's um, smart, she's but for 2 years I've known this person, right? And so we just started texting a few months ago, right around Christmas time. We exchanged numbers and started texting like friends. And she always gives me the nicest hugs when I see her. And I have observed over the last 2 years, every once in a while, I'm like subtle flirtation.
Mm-hmm.
She flirts with me, little things. And to make a long story short, um, she has said, she wants to hang out with me sometimes. So Sunday night, she came over for the very first time and we
Great.
hung out. And there's definitely an interest in each other. She, my question is, what does it mean, in your opinion, when a woman says she's not looking for anything serious? I'm curious what that means because I am witnessing with her and the woman I went to karaoke with last week this. I think the best word to describe is called an emotional vulnerability.
Good.
I am seeing, I don't know if you're aware of this behavior, but it's a wonderful thing. I am watching these women, these two ladies. There's an emotional surrender, an emotional vulnerability that's happening on the inside as they hang out with me, just
Well, that's
sitting
good.
there.
That's what you want. You want the woman to feel safe with you. And
It's
sometimes I think that you think that means that you have to back off. And I don't think I
right.
I think that's wrong. That won't serve you. I don't think that will
It's,
serve you. I
this
think
is
that's when you need to dig into your cherishing of their feelings.
Yes, and I'm doing that, and I think
Okay.
it's working. But
Okay, good.
the beautiful thing is, it's been a long time since I've actually witnessed a woman do this, where she surrenders herself to me, like she'll cuddle a little closer, or she'll lean
Good.
her.
Okay, well, don't, I
You know,
still want,
it's,
are
but
you gonna ask this girl out? I mean, do you have a question or what?
question is about, because what does it mean when she says she's not
Oh,
looking? The woman says she's
I
not
don't
looking.
think it means anything.
I don't think so either. I agree.
Okay. I would
And
just ignore it.
I wanted to hear your perspective as a
Yeah, I
woman.
mean, I think look, maybe it means that she wants to go slowly or she's afraid of getting hurt.
Yep,
Um,
that's what I
but
thought.
mainly look at people's actions. And if
Okay,
they're giving you the green light, I want you to
go for it.
ask them out. Yes.
Well, we are here's this girl number two, the one that I've known, the
Right.
beauty
The
because I
cuddler.
yes, and because I've known her in person for 2 years, there's been plenty of time to be comfortable around each other and kind of know each
Yeah,
other.
that's good.
And it's really the first time this has really happened to me. And I can't remember how long. It's
Hmm.
wonderful. And she's also expressed an interest in sexual.
Okay,
Uh,
good.
so
Give her a kiss.
well, that we have,
Okay, good.
and it was, again, the kiss thing was, we haven't engaged in the sex part, that we haven't crossed any boundaries sexually,
Okay.
but
Just kissing.
yes, and it was that moment was like I felt it, I saw it in the
I
body language.
love it. I'm so happy.
She
That sounds
completely,
very promising.
she surrendered. It was an emotional surrender, like a vulnerable thing. And I loved experiencing that. And so
Good. I'm glad
I
that they're
just,
feeling safe with you.
I told her, I said, I would like to be intimate with you too. Uh, I
Not
want,
would like, I want.
I want that too, but I also told her, I said, I just kind of, it would, I mean, I don't know. I hope I didn't blow, I don't think I blew anything.
Oh, so she wanted more and you said no?
I said, I want that. I want to psychologically, I need to be ready to get to that level. I want to
Oh,
be,
okay.
I wasn't ready that night,
Okay.
but I just want to know that
Why didn't you want to that night if she wanted to?
I guess because I just want to move slowly and
Okay.
make sure she's not. I said I just
Okay.
want to make sure you're not going to go any that you're going to be sticking around,
Right.
and
You want to
and
have more of a commitment.
yeah, and she
So why
said,
don't
well,
you try to
and she
nail down
said,
a commitment?
and she said she's known me for 2 years, so would she leave? So that's good. So the plan is tomorrow night or Saturday night is was on the table about hanging out again, and even if you can believe this, possibly spending the night.
Good.
So 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 unfortunately, she's had a car accident recently, a few months ago, and a couple months ago, and so she's got a lot of health. She's trying to get better with some physical injury things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm being very sensitive and understanding about that space, and so I want her to feel comfortable when she's ready and stuff, and so it may not
But it
happen to.
does sound like she is ready. Am I
Yeah,
missing something?
no, not at all. I think she
Okay.
is, and I'm all for it.
Okay.
I just
Don't
want
let
to
her
see
feel
her again, and
rejectedly.
not at all. We've been communicating very
Okay.
well. We've been communicating, and again, my main thing is, what does it mean when a woman says she doesn't want?
Yeah.
Because
Like I said, I think she's just,
it's a safety call, it's a safety thing, right?
yeah. Yeah.
That's what I think too. I think
She's
eventually,
just leaving the back door open.
if I go slow enough, I think we'll both be on the same page, and it'll happen naturally. And that's what I want to happen, and it's great. And like I said, I have
Don't go
never.
too slow.
It's been so
We've
long since
talked about that before. You don't want to miss your window.
no, not at all, and I
Okay.
won't. But I will tell you that I have to watch both, like the first women at karaoke night, even though we went Dutch, and she just says we're just friends. We're sitting there next to each other, and there was a moment where our heads kind of touched, just kind of
Hmm.
side touch of the heads. It was this real. I said, "Oh, she's just gradually surrendering," and
Right.
I saw it even more with girl number two, the one that.
Right. So you got to be that steady presence.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And it's just great. And I just want to acknowledge,
Yay. I'm so glad.
thank you for all your help. And I hope this continues to
You're
go well.
welcome. And 2 weeks
And
ago, you were like ready to throw in the towel. So
yeah,
here's proof
many
you don't need
times.
to do that.
I just thought I'd share that. It's a beautiful
Thank
thing.
you.
When I see a woman surrender like that, to me, it's a
I'm really proud of you that you made a safe environment for that.
yeah. Thank you so
Good
much. And
job.
I'll pass it to
Okay. I look forward
okay.
to hearing more.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Van. And you guys can, by the way, ask me questions about anything that's happened or that I've said in general. Okay. Van.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for taking the time to educate us and open our mind to to life and teaching us about the yin and the yang.
You are so welcome. I mean, it really is my pleasure. I can only do so much in these meetups. So if you guys
Yeah.
do, you can always book a private or sign up for one of the modules. I teach my books in the modules. So
Uh-huh.
if you want to go deeper, that's another really good option because it's a
Yeah.
smaller group and we get really focused and we really take the stuff from the book and then try to put it in practice in our lives.
Mm, that's great. Thank you. So I do have two questions. I don't want to take too much
Yes,
of
shoot.
your time. And so update, I am in a relationship,
Yay! You
the
sealed
same one.
the deal.
Yes, the same one. We're still hanging out with each other. And
Good.
it's wonderful. And I don't want to ruin it. And I want to get your opinion on how to keep the relationship going. It's going well, but I don't want to mess it up. So one question I have for you is I we met on the app, and of
Hmm.
course I fudge on my age.
By
But
how much?
about 6 years.
6 years. Okay.
Yeah, which it hasn't come up, but how do I slip it in? He hasn't asked, and I'm not gonna tell him. But how do I slip
Are
it in?
you off the app? So your profile's deactivated now?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's not like he would be going back to find it.
No, and
Um,
he kept reminding me or bringing up the topic, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna close my account." He didn't ask me, but he said, "I'm gonna close my account." So he said that twice already.
mhm.
So I know he
That's
likes.
good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what you want. Because a lot of times, I think that's really good that he was saying that because a lot of times, um, I've had clients get into relationships and then they find out they didn't negotiate. Oh, you need to get off the app, and they find out their person's still on the app, kind of shopping around. So
Uh-huh.
I think that's really good that
Yeah.
he brought that up.
Yeah.
I know it's stressful and it probably feels like a really big deal to you.
Yeah.
I would just bring it up when it comes up naturally. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too stressed about like, oh, I just want to tell you I'm
Uh-huh.
actually 102 or what.
Yeah. Okay, then
Um,
I
I think to some, I think a little fudging on the age is okay because
Mhm.
of the categories
Yeah.
in the dating
O-
apps.
Okay.
Obviously if you met him in real life, you probably wouldn't have done that.
Right. Right.
Um, but just when it comes up, you can,
Okay.
just
Okay. That's a
and
good
just try
idea.
not to be too stressed about it because I think men
Yeah.
sometimes expect women to not tell their age. I mean, in fairness, a lot of women don't tell their age, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I know my grandma was 29 when she died. She
Okay.
wasn't. I mean, she had white hair, she lived a long time,
Okay.
but she
Yeah.
was
So
telling everyone she never told her age after a certain point. And I think that's okay too.
yeah. Yeah. I don't think he would mind. I mean, but I'm not gonna. Yeah. I was gonna say, hey, by the way, but like you said, just don't bring it
Yeah,
up.
just
Just
wait till it
said,
comes up naturally and then just
mm-hmm.
go. If he's like, wait, I thought you said you were 21 on the app or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, then you can
Mm-hmm.
just go, oh yeah, that. Well, I don't know. I was kind of experimenting with different ages to see if I got different results or, say
Oh,
whatever you
okay.
want. Just
Casually. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So my other question is I'm starting to learn about him and getting to know him, and I use your two questions. Are you do you want your feelings cherished or your thoughts respected? I asked
Right.
him that question,
Good.
and he didn't really. He was like, okay, when I'm at work, then I want my thoughts respected, but when I get home, then I want my feelings heard. Uh,
Oh,
so I don't
yeah.
know what to do with that.
Right. Okay. So, right, because then you might be in a competition for feelings cherished.
Yeah.
So, can I ask you, is he over 50?
Yes.
Okay. So as men get older, they become a little more feminine because their testosterone drops off, and women get a little more masculine. So sometimes with couples who are over 45 or 50 in, getting into andropause and menopause, we do it by transaction. So if he starts with a feeling, then you're obligated to begin with a thought, respond with a thought. And if he starts with a thought, then you respond with a feeling. So what you're
Oh.
trying to do is avoid that power struggle, right?
Mm-mm.
Um, you can switch off a little bit because are you over 50?
Yes.
Okay, so then you're getting a little bit more masculine.
Hmm.
Um, so you can do it that way. The other thing you can do is if you find he's being too feelings
Yeah.
based, he's
Yeah.
initiating too much with his feelings, you
Right.
can start to try to nudge him a little bit more into his masculine by
Mm,
asking about his thoughts. So if he tells you how he feels, ask him what he thinks.
mm-hmm.
You know, if he's like,
Okay.
I don't feel good about that. Well, where do you think we should go to dinner?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay. Yeah,
so
I
just
get the.
kind of like gently redirecting it.
Okay. Yeah,
You
I
know,
think.
he doesn't necessarily, usually women hold the spiritual energy of the relationship. So he doesn't necessarily need to know all this information.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, I mean, the way it usually works is if I get the woman, I get the relationship, I get the family. If I get the man, I usually just get the man.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Yeah.
are role modeling some of these things, he'll just kind of fall into place in a way. He
Mm-hmm.
might. He might not, but he might. So let's give him that opportunity. Like I'll tell you a little anecdote. I just had a client. She was with a guy. I think I mentioned it last week. There's been more developments. So she was with a guy. It was going well. He was being masculine. He was asking her out, doing all the things. And then he freaked out and just like bailed out of nowhere. He was like, I'm not ready for a relationship and I can't do this and my heart's not in it after he had like invited her to see his parents and all this other crap. So she did nothing. She said nothing. She did not respond to that. She knows he's got 8 weeks. At around the 4 or 5 week mark, he came back. And he's basically now said that it was a huge mistake. He's regretted it every minute since he wrote that text. Now they're, negotiating, kind of getting back together. But I think what happened is in discussing it with her, um, is they're both young. They're like in their 20s. So
Mm-hmm.
he was making all the moves and he started to feel scared and too vulnerable. So he pulled out because he didn't want to get rejected. She did not cherish his feelings. She did not say, "Oh, I feel that way too. I don't." She didn't do anything like that. She was available to his leadership and she respected his thoughts. And I think it threw him off at first. And what he said was when he came back around, I thought I understood what was happening, but now I see that I totally didn't. And, they've kind of like gone through it. He doesn't know all the tools. He doesn't know all this work. He doesn't know even that I exist and I'm helping her. But just her taking that stance, respecting his thoughts, not cherishing his feelings, he ended up coming around because this is the yin and yang balance. This is the natural alignment that we want to be in, right? This is the balance that is most effective for us to live with. And so he just sort of now it just sort of sunk in after a few weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So my point is if you do it and you show him and you kind of nudge him a little and you don't cherish his feelings as much, then he might bring up his masculinity a little more. Does that make sense?
I think a little bit because
Okay.
from my understanding, I thought, well, okay, if they say something about their feelings, then you're supposed to show feeling, like you want to know that you heard what they just said.
Right, right. And you don't want to be a jerk about it, of
Mhm,
course. Um, it's not that they can never express their feelings, but just that it's best to make an appointment to express especially a negative feeling. So if
mhm,
obviously if he's saying he's happy and he's having a great time, he doesn't need to make
mhm,
an appointment. That's not really a problem.
mhm,
But if it gets to like, I feel cold, well, I feel hot, that's
mhm,
very simplistic, then you might have, you know, a little bit of a dilemma on your hands.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay. Well, I do want this relationship to work, and could you give me, maybe the rest of us, any recommendations as to how to keep the relationship going and be successful?
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a number of things. Obviously, doing the tools of complementary communication that we've been talking about, you
Uh-huh.
know, the thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good also for keeping the chemistry going.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you guys will have to negotiate, depend, how long the relationship goes on, but ultimately there's a list of that I usually give couples of the areas to negotiate. So the areas that you end up being needed to negotiate usually fall into money, time, space, and play, sexual or non-sexual.
Mm-hmm.
And we, it's I, us, and them. So it's like you negotiate like how you guys are going to share your money, how you're going to share your space, how you're going to share your time, what sometimes couples need to really get in the nitty-gritty about sex life if especially when I work with like couples that are polyamorous. Um
Mm-hmm.
and so what those things are going to look like. So you're going to eventually have to negotiate in those areas. And when you get there, I can give you the sheet that I use, but it's basically just what I said. So
Oh, okay.
be aware of that. Obviously, when you have a conflict, don't sit on it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not everything needs to be discussed,
Mm-hmm.
but if something isn't sitting right, make that appointment. Don't just barrel in, use the stroke and stand, which is in my first book, to make that appointment. And discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most important things I think is to, and then when you discuss it using the stroke and stand, that's the negotiating with love. So it's important that you don't bully one another or try to shame or guilt one another. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the basic concept of conscious communication. What I teach is negotiating with love, and that's using that stroke and stand, alternating between the thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Other thing that is really good, I don't know if you guys have had a fight yet. If you have a fight and it gets very intense, take a time out.
Okay.
You go back and forth on something once or twice, that's enough. If it goes more than that, then you're getting into your childhood scripts, and it's kind of like your ancestors are fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be mindful of that and not do that and take a time out if things are starting to get too crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Time out, like take a break from each other.
Yeah, like no, just literally like time out. Like I've gotten out of a moving car before. I
Oh,
don't
oh,
recommend that, but it needed to be done at the time.
yeah.
You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Go in the bathroom, get a drink
Yeah.
of water, go on a walk,
Yeah.
take a cold shower, do a workout, clean out a closet. If your pulse starts racing, you're super triggered, you have all that adrenaline rising up, you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to take that out on your partner over who's doing the dishes or whether or not he picked his socks up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
Things get so out of control. And so often when I'm talking with couples that has a huge fight, they can't remember what it was about, or it was about nothing, or we're always fighting, but it's never about anything. It's the
Mm-hmm.
dynamics of the communication that causes the fights. That's really misunderstandings in communication that cause most fights. So try before it gets off the rails to take a time out. And if you see him getting off the rails,
Mm-hmm.
you can take a time out,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can come back to it later. And if you need help, reach out, that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm here for.
Great. Thank you so much. These are
You're
very good.
welcome.
I'm gonna use them.
Okay, good. I'm glad it's working for you. I'm happy to hear. God, we've got two relationships tonight. This is pretty good.
Great. Thanks, Chloe.
You're welcome. Okay, Raul.
Hey Chloe.
Hey.
So I had a question about the whole age thing
Yes.
that similar event. Now I don't I never like bring up the whole age thing, but when the female does or the woman does bring up the age thing, then she'll ask like how old I am, and I'll tell her how old I am. But then I feel, but then I ask back, well, how old are you? And then they're like they won't share.
Right.
So I find that extremely annoying when that happens, and I wonder why do women like doing that? Why is it sort of like a power thing for them to hold on to that secret, or what is it? Because
I
at
think it's
at that point I feel very disrespected because I was truthful and forward, with my age,
okay.
and
So
I didn't
aging
bring it
for
up.
men
You
and
know,
aging for women is very different in our society. Okay. Men, when they age, they're wise, they're distinguished, often older men date younger women. Sometimes it goes the other way, but let's be real, more often it doesn't. Um, Older women in our society tend to take a bigger hit, right, when they get older. Young women have a lot of power. They would, if you're a beautiful young woman, there's you do have power. When you get older, you will witness losing some of that power. And it's very challenging and it's very difficult for a lot of women. Obviously we have a, plastic surgery epidemic um going on, and everyone's taking weight loss drugs and there's a lot of pressure on appearance in general, especially in the LA area. But then I know you feel it too as a man, but women really, they feel it a lot more. And so I like to be sensitive to what it's like for women in our society to age. And if that means that they want to keep their age a secret, then who cares? If that's what makes her feel good, everything, we're not looking for equality in a relationship. We're looking for equity. So it's not going to be tit for tat. It's never going to be that way. Um, if it's something that's really important to you in your relationship, you can make an appointment to discuss it and see where you get with it. But mostly women do it as a way of protecting themselves.
so in general, there's a lot of things that women feel that they can ask but not answer. Is that basically the rule?
Well, I don't know about a lot of things, but I think maybe age would be one of them. Does that
Okay,
make sense?
not really, but I guess it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's maybe it doesn't sound fair to you, but yeah, I think
I mean, to me, I think that I share the same curiosity that they have. So if they're curious about my age, I'm also curious about their age. Or if they're curious about this, I'm also curious about the same things.
right,
But there are a lot of times I find that they'll ask a question, but then they don't want to reciprocate on the answer.
right,
So
right,
I feel
right.
like
Like I
it's
said, it's not equality. That's
okay.
not, that's not, we've been
And
sold
I
this
and I,
idea about equality, and it doesn't honor the differences between men and women. We look for equity, which recognizes those differences while each person still has a voice. So I'm just saying, if she's not comfortable, you can decide how much you want to press it. You can
right.
make an appointment, you can say what you think, you can tell her, this isn't fair. I've asked you these things. I need to know for you. There's medical concerns or whatever your argument is. Present it and ask how she feels. Maybe you'll get somewhere. No,
No,
I don't
okay.
know.
Well, I mainly because I have a friend that shares with me a lot. The age thing comes up with her for every relationship that she encounters, and she always does the same move. They'll ask her how old she is, and she always says, "I'm older." That's it. She doesn't want to give out any more than that, and it causes the guys to pull back, and sometimes they get passive aggressive with her afterwards.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
maybe that's not a good strategy then. Maybe there's a better way to express it. I don't know.
right. Okay, well, thanks for
You're
discussing it.
welcome. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Where's he? Anoki. Am I saying your name right? Anoki?
Right. Yeah, yes, yes. Sorry, I was
Hi.
not able to.
Oh, that's
Hi, how are
okay.
you? It's wonderful to be here. It's my first time, so I'm really enjoying all the conversations here.
Oh, good.
Actually,
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. I know everybody, like, I won't take more of time, but yes, I need to ask something very pertinent. My profile on dating profile is very clear. If I'm just coming, to the point, it's like I put up a dating profile which is very clear, which says no sex talks, no, FWBs, no ons, no hookups. I'm only looking for something long term.
Hmm.
Yet, I feel, men try to feel, oh, my profile is very strict. Despite the fact I'm trying, as I heard about yin and yang energy and masculine and feminine energy, my only reason is like people get attracted to me because sexually. I'm sorry, like I'm being very honest to you. So I have to be very clear with my profile. If I don't be clear, it may sound a little strict, but I have to be very clear about. I don't want any time wasters. I try to see that I'm looking for something which is substantial, which is long term. People, when I connect with the men there, they said, yes, we are also looking for long term. And then they waste my time, like talking about other things. Like I'm talking to two people of late, they're in long distance, honestly, more of long distance.
And they
So
these are people
one
you met
is,
on the app?
yes.
Okay.
Now we are talking on WhatsApp. So we are off the app and we are
Okay.
connecting on WhatsApp. One of the guys have done video calls, and yes, the other guy also is. Both are equally good. Both are settled, everything. But yet, I've seen that I have been very clear in my conversations subtly. Like I'm looking for long term. I'm looking
Right.
for something called marriage. You know, but oh, we need to first know each other, connect. Okay, I understand that. But uh, the thing is, like, how do I tell them, like, I'm not looking for too much of, time wasters, because in long distance, if you're too much, if the friendship goes really long, then, it
Yeah. How
fizzles
long have
out.
you been talking to these guys? You haven't met in person, correct?
Okay, yes. No, I haven't met in person. One is in Switzerland and one is in, yeah, the other is in Italy. So both are very good, decent, everything. I've been talking for almost a month. Especially the guy in Switzerland takes a
Are
lot
you
of
guys going
interest.
to meet? What's the plan?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's what I'm working for. Like I wanted to want to meet, but I don't want to sound desperate in this, or
Yeah,
like
but you're
telling
not
them,
going to
okay,
keep
when,
talking to people ad nauseum if you're never going to meet. I mean, if they were in the same town, I usually say maximum 2 weeks on the talking before
oh,
you have an in-person
right,
meeting. Now, these guys are in other
okay,
countries, but you have to have
right,
some kind of plan. You have to make a plan.
right,
What is the plan?
okay,
Can you work remotely? Can they work remotely? Like, how is it going to work out? If you guys can't ever meet, even for my long distance couples, they try to meet every 2 weeks. Longer than that
wow,
is hard. You can do it, but the more
yeah.
often you see each other, the better chance the relationship has of working.
Yeah, because I've been like, indirectly asking them, like, it's been only almost a month. Especially the guy in Switzerland is more invested in a way, like he does a lot of video calls and talks to
Does
me,
he
and he's
travel for
very,
work? Where are you in the US?
no, I'm currently in India.
Okay, so you're in India. Okay.
Yeah,
So y- if
sorry.
is he going to be traveling to India? I mean, what?
That's that's what he said like many a
Okay.
times in the conversation. Oh,
So
I would
you got
love
to
to meet
say
you.
soon. This is what I would say soon. Say, it has been so, say, there's something I want to talk to you about. It's so good to see your face or whatever it is on the video call. Well, let me ask you first. Do you want your feelings cherished or your thoughts respected? Everyone wants both, but what do you want more?
Feelings respected.
Feelings
Um,
cherished.
uh, yeah,
Okay.
cherished. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
then you're going to be respecting his thoughts. So you're going to say, hey, you're going to start out with, hey, it's been so great getting to know you, and say something that you can respect in his thoughts. You're brilliant, or, it's been fascinating hearing about metallurgy or whatever they're into. I've loved talking to you. It makes me feel so happy when I hear your voice. You're leading with your feelings. praising their thoughts. Okay. You start there. You say, but, as you know, I'm looking for something long term and I'm feeling uncomfortable. Like, we don't really have a relationship until we've met in person. What do you think? And then see if he says anything. Give him like a space. Okay. And if he doesn't say anything, say, what do you think? And then if he still
Okay.
doesn't say anything, you can say, well, what do you think about meeting? Um,
Okay.
and if he's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I want to get to know you more, da 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 da, then you got to decide how long it's gonna go. To me, that sounds suspicious. If he doesn't want to meet you, you know what I'm saying?
So sorry, I mean, like, I wanted to ask you, like, how long, like, after talking for a month, we should plan to meet. Like, should I give it more time, or should I tell him to, like, it's a month's time is more than enough? What do you think? Like, I don't want to pressurize. So as you said, I'll definitely go this way. But do you think should I wait more, or should I,
I mean, I
ask this?
would push for the in-person meeting sooner rather than later. But you can give yourself,
Wow.
like a range. I definitely,
Mhm.
after 2 months, if you don't have a plan to meet, I would stop talking. But
That's
I
a
mean,
good
it's
one.
up to you. I have had clients come to me, especially during the pandemic, who were virtual for like a year.
Oh
I
my.
mean, ultimately they did meet a couple times and it was good. They weren't even that far together. It was like Oregon and California. I mean, they weren't that far apart. It was like Oregon and California. And then they met a couple times, but ultimately what happened was she didn't want to leave her family in Oregon and he didn't want to leave California. And now they've spent over a year talking without meeting to come to this point. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys are going to
Right,
do a long distance thing, you got to see how the meetings are going to work. And I think sooner
right.
rather than later. I wouldn't give it more than another month. I really, I'm telling you, I think now is fine to ask for the in-person meeting, at least to start
Fabulous.
planning it.
Right. Yes, I think, yeah, because I just
Otherwise,
can't do friends.
don't open up to people out in other areas. You know what I'm saying? Because you're
Yeah,
not. That's what I kept telling this guy before he met. You're not in a relationship until you've met. I don't care who it is. If you
absolutely.
haven't met in real life, there's no relationship.
Absolutely. And one last question. It's a
Yes.
wonderful, fabulous suggestion you've given me. It's priceless. Thank you so much. There's one more thing I want to know is like I don't want to put forth this, like, should I travel? I prefer a man to travel to meet me, but what do you think? Should I take plans to, initiate, like, should I
I mean, there's a
travel? What do
number,
you think?
ask his ideas. Hopefully
Right.
he'll be masculine enough to come up with some ideas. Maybe you guys meet
Yeah.
halfway. Maybe he wants to come to India. Maybe you want to go to Switzerland. I don't know. Um,
Yes.
Obviously we hope that he's going to put more of the effort in and shoulder more of the expense. Um, so let's see how it plays out. This will be part of getting to know him, is what he's willing to
Absolutely.
do to meet you, right?
Right.
If he
Oh,
says,
that
come
was
to
wonderful.
Switzerland anytime, the door's open, then you got to decide if that's what you want. Some girls would jump at that chance.
Mhm.
So
Um,
it's really about understanding what you want and what you don't want. But I think you'll know
Obviously,
more once you enter into a negotiation with him about it. You might not have to worry. He might set everything up.
right. I really want men to be more masculine. I feel in today's dating apps, I'm sorry saying this, but I find,
Yes, I
sorry, I
agree.
don't want to conclude for everybody. This is with all due respect to men, but I feel the masculine energy is very much required for us to be more, surrendering and feminine. And I want to be
A
like that. I
hundred
want to be more.
percent.
I want to
Yes.
work on my femininity more all the time. But yes. But
Yes.
thank you so Wonderful suggestion, and I loved it. And I'm definitely going to, message him or talk to him about it.
Okay,
Thank you
good.
so
And
much
let
for
us know how it goes.
surely. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
good luck.
Once again,
Yeah, we're
thank
living,
you.
that's what happens because a lot of us have childhood trauma, so we become dystonic. So women become more masculine and men become more feminine, and then we try to meet up, and then we become even more, women become even more masculine, men become even more feminine, and that doesn't work out. Okay. Lee, last question. I forgot to ask, what does it mean when a woman says she feels seen by me? Gal 2 says she likes the way I touch her. Said she's, which I'm really happy to hear. But she's felt seen by me. Yes, it's very, very, very good. Lee, that's very good. That means that she's connecting with you. That means that she feels understood. And so that's very good. I think that's a very positive sign. I feel seen. I feel understood. That's like it's kind of one of the highest compliments you can give somebody, really. I I actually had some, it's funny that you mentioned that. I had some pictures. I finally got some professional photographs taken, so you guys will be seeing those in a month or so. But that's what she said to me. You see me and I see you, and it was true, it meant that we had, kind of a simpatico understanding. We understood each other, we knew each other, we could recognize each other. It's one of the most powerful things that you can have in a relationship. Yes. Wendy's saying to be seen and heard by a man is kind of the best thing for a woman. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, thank you, Lee. I have to give you credit for that. Okay, good. Yes, you are making progress. You guys are doing really well. I mean, this work is challenging. It takes a little time sometimes, but a lot of times people see results, right away. It's not a linear process, you take a few steps forward, you take a step back, but it will work. It does change people's lives, like you guys know, I've helped thousands of people. I'm gonna wrap it up now. If you have a quick question during the week, you can contact me through my website or through Instagram. If you really like this work, you can sign up for one of the modules, and do one of the groups, or set up a private. The privates are great. We get really into depth and really into detail with your own personal story and your own personal script and your own personal issues. So if I don't hear from you, I will see you here next week. Have a good day.